Sounds good.
All right. Hey, welcome to this segment of Reclaim Your Power Summit. I am with Gmeinder today, and we are going to be talking about how to overcome those blocks in your business and how to lead in your business instead. So welcome, Laura. Thank you for joining us in this.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be part of the summit.
So, I notice one of the things that we do as women is, we tend to not or fully show up. We're almost like hesitant, like we need to kind of hide behind the scenes a little bit, and heaven forbid we should show up fully. What would that look like, and what are people going to think? So why do we let's start there. As women, why do we even care what other people think, and why don't we show up fully and presently in our businesses?
Well, I think that's such a great question, because that's something that really most women struggle with at some point or another. And like for me and a lot of the people that I've worked with, when you look back, women are raised to be risk adverse. And so just even women in business, like owning your own business, it's like gold star for you, because that in and of itself is a huge leap of faith, a huge show of confidence. But for a lot of women, especially, like the statistics are around the age of 35 is when people kind of max out at their careers, and they're not getting the support they need for families. They're not getting the promotional opportunities. They're not being able to make that impact. And maybe the corporate environment, the nonprofit, wherever you've been before starting a business, a lot of women, that is not good for their confidence and their self-esteem. And so really kind of like owning that and finding a way to say, not only am I going to go out there, a lot of women are the face of their business. A lot of women hesitate in how they show up, whether it's negotiating contracts, setting prices, managing your employees. And those are like the key pieces, the foundation you need to have a successful business.
I love that. Yes. And I find I'm the same way. I catch myself
we all are
not being, it's like, what if what if I do this? What if I do that? Well, you know what would happen if you actually did show up fully?
Yes.
What would your life be like? What would your, relationships be like? How would that look and feel? When you start thinking about that, it's like, dude, I seriously want that.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes we let the emotion right away. Like, for example, I'm totally going to confess, when I saw that it was an opportunity to partner with you and join the summit, my first reaction was like, oh my God, that'd be so cool. And then I was like, oh no, but I couldn't do that. And so I pulled back. And it's like, but if you think about it from like a factual base, like I've talked to Tracey, she's cool. Like, I love what you're doing in the world. And it's like, why would I pull back? Well, because it's scared. It's something that's bigger than me. It's putting myself out there more.
Right.
And for some women, doing that is very hard, to be able to say, this is who I am. But really, for a lot of people, the business success comes from positioning yourself as a thought leader. And in order to do that in this day and age, you do need to say yes to opportunities that are scary for you.
And, I like that you said that, positioning yourself as a thought leader. I've been in the virtual industry for almost 10 years now. And
nice.
The first, 8 of those was me being happy behind the scenes, helping my clients be in the forefront. And then all of a sudden, that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. And so I started positioning myself as a leader in the VA industry. And
yes.
now we're going this route.
Yes.
And it is scary, because you do have to be out there. But, so how do you even just, so that right there is a big block.
Yes.
That whole, what if I put myself out there? What if I fail?
Yes.
What if I succeed? What if? That's probably one of the biggest blocks we face as women. So
yes.
How do we get past that?
Well, a lot of times I think about it from like, if the what if kind of keeps playing over in your head, you're right. Like, what if? Let's look at the facts around this. What's best case scenario? What's worst case scenario? And the worst case scenario is what really triggers your fear, and sometimes that fight or flight, because our brains are here to keep us safe, keep us out of danger, not to necessarily make us happy. And for a lot of women, that will be enough to hold them back versus saying like, what if I fail?
Right.
I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. But what if it's a lesson? What if it's a life lesson? What if it isn't the perfect time? What if it isn't meant to be? You can also use the what ifs in a really powerful way to motivate you.
What if I succeed?
I know, exactly. And just the small wins, like that's what builds confidence. That's what allows you to slowly expand your comfort zone so that you're willing to be on a summit, or that you're willing to put your next group program out there and to do and make to challenge yourself to do that. And for some women too, one of the strategies I've personally found that has been super helpful is collaborating, like doing something like this, where I do some speaking events with a partner, and some of those pieces of it, maybe you're not comfortable to do, videos, blowing up on Facebook. Maybe you're not comfortable to do a video, but maybe you get a split screen and invite your business bestie, and you're just kind of talking to each other like how we are, and that makes you more comfortable with it. You have to find what your strengths are, but also what's going to feel good to you and feel comfortable, because we know there's only 24 hours in a day. We can't be everywhere on social media and going to all the networking events. And there's just so many ways to get yourself out there to lead in your business. But at the end of the day, you have to really be focused on what's most impactful and what really aligns with you and the presence and the impact you want to make in the world.
Love. So, so we're starting to get opportunities. We're putting ourselves out there. One of the things that I did, and I did this years ago when I first started on social media, was I've always been very open, honest, and raw about what's happening in my world. And so I would post about the kids or the dogs or the whatever. And I've had, more than one coach tell me not to do that. That it could take away.
Live in your truth. Don't live your truth.
Take away clients, right? So
attract the right clients.
Yeah, exactly. So for a long time, I stopped. Like I killed Twitter. I rocked it on Twitter, and then I had someone tell me that, so I stopped posting altogether for years. And that's how I originally built my business, was on Twitter. So finally one day I was like, you know what? Enough. This is who I am, and this is And if by posting that my kids are sick and my dogs are driving me crazy pushes away a potential client, they're obviously not the right client, because the right client would be like, so totally get that. Here's what
Tell it, Tracey.
So, for me, I love to put myself out there, and I'm very open, honest, and raw about just about everything that happens in my life. And the reason for that is, number one, it creates that know, like, and trust factor, right?
Yes.
People can relate to me and they get to know me as a person.
Yes.
But the biggest reason is because what if by putting myself out there and putting my stories out there, I can help somebody?
Mm-hmm. You give them permission to do it too.
Exactly. What if by being open and raw and honest, what happened to me helps somebody else? So that's how I kind of came over that what if factor, is by saying, okay, well, what if I put something out there and it chases away a client? I spun it around to what if it helps somebody, and that's what I'm all about. So you have
definitely.
Yeah. Now, one of the things one of the things that as women, this is one of my favorite things, is I call it the yes addiction. And we are addicted to saying yes.
Bobblehead.
We think we have to say yes to everything and that we can't say no. So let's go there for a little bit and say, talk about the no factor.
I used to be one that would hide in my yes, because I was in a place where I wasn't really dealing with my emotions. I wasn't dealing with the life I created for myself. I was feeling very stuck. So I felt wanted by saying yes to all these opportunities, by being busy. I was being able to distract. And it's something I've had to work on in my business, because it is really triggered by me wanting to be perfect, me wanting to have people like me, and to kind of have that balance to say, I'm the leader of my business. I need to do what's best for my business. If I'm saying yes to this opportunity, is it supporting my mission? Is it supporting the impact I want to make in the world? And if not, if I'm saying no, what am I opening myself up to do? And to really have that focus that, by saying no, you're not going to shut down those opportunities. And really, you're also modeling great boundaries to be able to share, not at this time, or here's what I'm focused on instead, and offer alternatives, or yes, and to craft that exchange so that it's something that honors you and your values and allows you to show up in your business how you want to.
Absolutely. So I see this in the virtual assistant industry a lot, where they're hungry for money. They're hungry to start getting clients. They're desperate for money, really. And so they say yes to everything. And pretty soon, and it happened to me.
Yes.
You get addicted to saying yes. And all of a sudden, all this money starts flowing in. And next thing you know, you're working 18 hours a day and you're not getting anything done because you've taken on too much. So
yes,
what I don't get is, it's easy for us to say no to our kids, right? No, you can't have that. No, you can't go there. No, you can't do this. But when it comes to our clients or other people, it's almost like we're afraid to say no.
Well, and really, I know I got caught in that too, where when I was starting my business, it's like you want to put yourself out there, you want to attract a lot of work. And so a lot of times too, not only was it the 18-hour days, it was doing work that I didn't like to do, that I didn't want to be, going back to that thought leader, like, what do you want to be known for? Like, it was things I didn't even want to be known for. And it, so it's really kind of finding that intersection of, what your values are, what your strengths are, and what that's going to look like for the long-term strategy of your business. So you're guiding it in that direction, because by saying yes to anything, that's how we get burned out. That's how we start being resentful of our business. Like, I had a client one time that she was just like so unhappy, and it was because her business was running her. She wasn't running her business, to the point that she was like annoyed when her employees would have questions or need support and help. It's like, this is your baby. This is the amazing business you birth. It has an, great recognition brand, and how you're showing up, like, it's gotten to a point where I'm almost resenting it because you're not doing it in a way that helps and gives you a natural flow.
Oh, I've been there. I've been there. And you get to that point where you're like, I don't even want to do it. Next thing you know, you start manifesting illnesses.
Yep.
Because you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're freaking out. So all of a sudden you start getting sick.
Yes.
And you have excuses for why you're not doing stuff, is because, well, I'm sick.
Yes.
It's something else that I see and that I've experienced, and I have to remind myself constantly, is we tend to take on our clients' chaos. And we start owning their chaos as our own.
Yes.
And therefore, we're like, well, I have to say yes to everything because they're freaking out. Things aren't getting done. This needs to get done. This needs to get done. I gotta do this, that, and the other thing. And so we get wrapped up in their chaos that they've created for themselves. Yes. And all of a sudden that becomes our chaos. And that's not. It's not our responsibility. It's not our fault that they got themselves into wherever it is that they are.
Yes.
Yes, we are here to help them get out of it, but we don't have to own that chaos. That's not ours to own. And I have to remind myself of that almost daily, almost every day.
Well, because we're in that, I joke, but at least for us here, we live in the United States of busy, and everyone wants something yesterday. So that is hard, because for a lot of people, that's just kind of, they're on autopilot, and that chaos you mentioned, that's so a part of their daily experience, they don't even realize that they're creating that. So I think as, coaches, service providers, to be able to, really kind of take, a pause and then focus to say, just because my client wants to meet tomorrow and I already have a book schedule doesn't mean I need to be shifting around things, or, instead of an hour, squeezing them in for half an hour. And, what does that look like to be able to have a little bit to say, I'm available next week. Here are some times, and kind of to pull back, and maybe in the client in the emotional state, sometimes that's a gift to say, just be with your feelings, just deal with the situation. And I'll be there in the big picture to focus on how this fits in with your goals.
And I'm not afraid to tell my clients to breathe. they'll, you
I
know,
like it.
I'll get some kind of an email or something or a message on Skype or whatever, and I'll be like, look, breathe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going to get solved overnight. Nothing's going to get solved in this state of mind. You need to,
Yes.
you need to step away. You need to take a moment. And when you're grounded again, then let's talk and create a plan. So, yeah, I'm not afraid to kind of take control of my clients. And a lot of people are. It comes back to that what if. Well, what if I tell them to breathe and they fire me? Well, then bye. Go take your chaos.
Then that's their issue. That's something that they need to work on. If they can't handle a no.
Yeah. You know, and I think a lot of it is, well, we're nurturers by nature. We're compassionate.
Yes.
It's just in our DNA. And so we want to help the world.
Yes.
And sometimes we take on too much.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you know, another thing that I think of when I think about business blocks is, this actually came up for me this morning, is jealousy, competition, that kind of thing. Yes. And this came up because, you know, I've got the Empowered Femprenuers Facebook group, the free group.
Yes.
And I had it set to no self-promotions, just like every other freaking group out there, right? No self-promotions. Only I'm allowed to self-promote. And I was in another group and I was reading their rules or something about it. And I was reading the comments along the lines of no promoting. And it was, you know, well, what if what we have is something of value? We're not selling something, but it's something of value. And, you know, and they're like, no, you can't do that. And it really got me thinking. And I was like, wait a minute, by not allowing my people to share their blog, share their free gifts, share their wisdom and experience, that's really selfish of me. And I think a lot of it was I don't know for me if it was necessarily jealous, but it was more that fear of competition. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't want somebody
scarcity.
I don't want somebody taking, you know, somebody that could have been a client of mine. And so I really had to kind of sit with that this morning. And I was like, you know what? That's wrong. By opening up and allowing other people to share their experience and their wares and their whatever, that's a gift for them. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what this whole Empowered Femprenuers is about, is allowing women to shine. So I think we tend to experience that a lot in business.
I think so too. And I think that it's really been one of those things that is divisive, you know, and again, with kind of how we're raised and the experience we've had in, you know, the world of work, we don't always see a lot of women being very successful. So a lot of that is modeled subconsciously to us that, like, there's a scarcity at the top of the pyramid, right? That not everyone can get to the top, that there isn't enough clients for everyone, that there isn't enough opportunity for everyone. Right. And so sometimes with the jealousy piece, it just does not feel good. And instead of recognizing that sometimes jealousy can be a gift to say, oh my gosh, she's going to be speaking at the conference next March, or how did she get on that blog post? Or she's getting to work with that high profile person in my industry, to say jealousy is trying to show us what's something that we want. And it kicks up those emotions. And then going back to kind of the yes or no, it's like, why are you jealous? Is this aligned with your mission? Is this where you want to be taking your business? And, you know, sometimes too, I tell people sometimes, like, as you're kind of trying to get out of that, because it does drop a lot of emotions, maybe you're just going through and, you know, the star, the thought leader of your industry that's kind of a trigger for you, you're hiding them. Like for me, I had, when I got started, almost every conversation when I told someone what I did, another person's name would get brought up to the point that it was really wearing on me. And I finally was like, you know what, I need to take a step back. I totally respect what this person's doing. I work with them. I, you know, hid them all over. And even when there's been like the attempts to connect, I was like, you know what, for what's best for me and what I want to be able to focus on that path forward, I don't want to see what she's doing. I don't want to be pulled into that. And if there are the opportunities for us to work together, there's an abundance of clients. And even if you have the exact same products and service, like you said, like the no like trust factor, and you are you, and you're going to attract the clients who want to be working with you and the opportunities that are a right fit.
It is so funny. I'm cracking up that you're talking about that, because as you were talking before, you mentioned the hiding this person and all of that. I was thinking about, I had a couple of them, one in particular, that I was the same way. I couldn't stand the fact that it was like, okay, you've been in the virtual industry for a day. Now all of a sudden you're a coach and you can do all this and you can do all that. And I'm sitting here watching it, and it just venom. Every time I saw her post, I could just taste venom. And finally, so I had to do the same thing. I had to hide her, block her.
And it's okay to do that. Like,
but I got to thinking about it, and I was like, why do I really feel this way? Is it because she's been in the industry for, almost not even a year? I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm, or what is it? And it hit me. She's doing what I wanted to be doing. She's out there putting herself out there. She's creating products. She's creating programs. She's collaborating. She was doing exactly what it is that I wanted to be doing, but I wasn't. And so it wasn't her personally that I had a problem with. It was the fact that I wasn't getting off my butt and doing what I kept telling myself I needed to be doing and what I wanted to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
sometimes jealousy can be the motivation to light your fire.
Absolutely. So sometimes, you have to really look at that. And jealousy really is an internal thing. It's, you're jealous of another person, and I'm jealous of her because she's got this nice body, and oh my God, look at that, she can wear whatever she wants, and Well, no, I'm upset with the fact that I am where I am, and I'm not comfortable where I am at this particular moment. So it's not usually something really with the other person. It's something within ourselves that we have a problem with.
It really is. And it's hard too, because we don't ever know the whole story as much as people are being very transparent. Maybe she has a rocking body. I had a friend 3 times a day working out to maintain her rocking figure into her 40s. And I'm like, girlfriend, I'm getting me a cheeseburger and an ice cream. I'm like, screw 3 times at the gym a day.
I will just squat while I eat it.
Yes. So what is the trade-off too? What's going on behind the scenes? But you're right. The focus is on us and what we want, and the fact that it's all such a mental game. Like, what it comes down to is, like, if you think you can do it, you can do it. Like, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, it's that Henry Ford quote: if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the mindset for a second, because it's this whole thing, being empowered, reclaiming your power, it's all starts here. Mm-hmm. It all starts right here in our head. And I think our mind can be our worst enemy sometimes. I don't know how many times a day I say, God, I really need a lobotomy to get these thoughts out of my head. So let's talk about mindset for a minute, and the fact that, having that leader mindset, that thought leader mindset, that is what's going to attract those clients and the success to you, right?
It really is. And I know I really struggled. I was in corporate and felt really stuck. And it wasn't until I realized that my life, this was like the hardest thing ever, was I had created the life I had, and it didn't feel like the right life. But I wasn't taking any action to do what I was called to do. And a lot of that came from, it's almost kind of a victim mentality, or kind of having the inability to impact your world,
right?
To come at it to really harness your inner leader to say, you know what? Line in the sand. Today is the day, and tomorrow and every day I'm going to be focused on making small changes. And maybe I don't know what that big picture, but if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, nothing is going to change. And what does that feel like in a year? And I think the mindset piece is, especially for us as women, like, we're so critical of ourselves. It's like, oh, you are so stupid. Oh, I can't believe you missed your appointment, or, like all these thoughts. And instead of it, once, we have it like for a week where we just like dwell on stuff, versus saying, like, you know what? Yeah, I messed up, and I'm human, and I'm going to do the best I can do. And because perfect is not obtainable, that bar keeps getting raised. So a lot of times I think about it too. It's like, what would I say to my best friend? How would I treat the people I care about the most? And if I'm having those thoughts, like, I'm in charge of those thoughts. And if they're negative, how do you reframe them to say, you know what? Yeah, that was unprofessional that you missed your meeting, but things happen. Show up very professional for your next meeting, make that, impression, and go forward from there. Don't dwell on it. Everything in life is energy. And by dwelling on what we didn't do, the mistakes that we made, that really holds us and has us in the past versus being present and having a view of the future and what we're trying to accomplish. So the more that you can get control of your thoughts and to be positive about that. I mean, even sometimes, like, if I can't just move on, even a change of scenery, go outside, get some sunshine, call a friend, ask them about their life and their problems and how everything's, be there for them. But what can you do to kind of get that shift if you can't get control of that yourself?
Absolutely. Go post an Empowered Femprenuers Facebook group and we will help you.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes having people say, like, girl, I did that twice last week. Like,
exactly.
Just to have that, because that's the thing too, is like women, we isolate ourselves so much and we think it's just us. I'm the only one that's gone through this bad day. I'm the only one that's had this traumatic experience. I'm the only one that, is maybe having a downturn in my business this month. Like,
right.
And the more that you can share, the more that you can share, it's like, oh, and how are you handling that? And let's talk together. And, really that community that we really crave.
Absolutely. That's what this is all about. That's the whole thing with Empowered Femprenuers, that is creating that. You can see it on the website, the global network of empowered women. Yes. We can't do this alone. We shouldn't do this alone. We need to help and collaborate with each other. Yes. And like you said, there's plenty of business out there for all of us. Definitely. I don't care how many of us are competitors. What works for you or what client works great with you may not work great with me, may not work great with the next person, So there's plenty of people out there for us. So
definitely.
This is awesome. I feel inspired.
Me too.
I love doing these because I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. This is exactly what I needed to hear today.
Yes.
It's been great. Thank you so much for joining us and collaborating with me on this.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been wonderful. I'm so excited to see.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. Listeners, again, thank you. Thank you so much for being part of this, and enjoy the rest of the summit.